the Information Analytics Center of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Ukraine continues to do everything possible in order to achieve peace in Donbass. The basis for the peace process is the implementation of Minsk agreements, which Ukrainian side is observing unequivocally. Next week, we are waiting for an important step in the direction of peaceful settlement. As the President of Ukraine, Mr. Poroshenko, said on the 9th of December in Minsk, the meeting is planned of the trilateral contact group with the participation of representatives of Ukraine, Russia, and OSCE on the settlement of situation in Donbass. As a result of the meeting, we expect the confirmation of the schedule of realization of Minsk agreements. On the 9th of December, there has to be the day of artillery silence, and within 30 days, we have to come to the clash line that was stipulated by the Minsk Protocol, the President said. He also emphasized that simultaneously there has to be the withdrawal of heavy arms that includes artillery and machinery, and the provision by OSCE of the monitoring for the continued ceasefire. He also emphasized that pseudo-elections should be cancelled that happened on the territories controlled by the terrorism on the 2nd of November, and there has to be the preparation to organize local elections according to the Ukrainian law. At the same time, the President of Ukraine emphasizes the necessity to continuously work on the increase of the combat ability of the armed forces of Ukraine. And he also said that without a systemic delivery to the army of contemporary modern armaments and machinery, it is impossible to win a war. He also said that the talks are going on with the partners about buying modern arms that Ukraine does not produce at the moment. Within the limits of the remit of the President, the concern Ukroboronprom plans to increase twofold the work on the production of armed machinery. Let's remind you that yesterday the armed forces received several dozen new and repaired armored vehicles, including over 30 tanks. And this machinery will very soon find itself with the anti-terrorist operation zone. Last day, there was the increase of the number of shelling by terrorists of the positions of Ukrainian army. The enemy has started to more actively use these batteries of multiple rocket launcher Grad. And this means that terrorists are constantly receiving ammunition. Our military efficiently act in response, using artillery to destroy the enemy. In Donetsk direction, the terrorists have shelled from Grad artillery, anti-aircraft guns and mortars the positions of our military next to Avdiivka and Opytne and Orlivka. In particular, in Avdiivka, the projectiles hit the police precinct. 2 law enforcers got wounded. From artillery and mortars, the enemy shelled our positions in the village of Pisky and in the vicinity of town Marinko, next to villages Maximivka and Novomikhailivka, and also Shume. In the Donetsk airport, the terrorists 8 times from artillery, mortars, grenade launchers, and small firearms have attacked the positions of the forces of anti-terrorist operation. Our military are holding their defense. A certain sharpening of the aggravation of the situation is happening in the Baltsovo direction. The terrorists have shelled from Grad the positions of the anti-terrorist operation forces next to the city of Debaltsevo, and also villages Kalinivka, Redkodubol, Khovatka, and Mius. Also from mortars, the terrorists have shelled our strongholds and checkpoints next to villages of Nikishina, Maloorlivka, Chergunivka, the city of Vughlebnigirsk, and the mine Poltavska. In Mariupol direction, the militants have shelled our stronghold in the village of Mykolaiivka from Grad, anti-tank guided missiles and mortars. They also attacked our positions next to the settlement Mirne from mortars and from artillery, the village of Bogdanivka. The anti-terrorist operation forces are actively defending themselves and repelling the attacks. Next, in Mariupol, the situation is calm. All the services work as usual. In the vicinity of Bakhmutivka highway, the terrorists from mortars, artillery, and grenade launchers attacked the positions of the anti-terrorist operation next to the villages Nizhny, Krymske, Sokilniki, Trokhizbenka, Muratove, and also next to the settlement Frunze. Our military are holding their positions, and the enemy does not go into active attacks because every attempt of the enemy to launch offense finishes with great losses for the enemy. In Luhansk direction, the terrorists from Graz have shelled the positions of the anti-terrorist operation next to the settlement Petrivka from mortars, grenade launchers, and firearms in the city of Shastya, also next to Stanitsa Luhanska and Makarova. The activity of terrorists was also detected in the vicinity of towns of Popasna and Zolote, where the militants have shelled our positions from mine mortars. Over the last 24 hours, 2 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and 8 got wounded. There were no combat clashes on the state border outside the boundaries of the anti-terrorist operation zone. Also, no drone flights were detected. The President of Ukraine has bestowed the title of the Hero of Ukraine to Alexander Petrakivsky and also posthumously to Sergei Krivonosov and Dmitro Mayboroda. Sergei Krivonosov was headed the joint unit of a company, tactical group that was defending the state border with Russia next to the settlement Dyakovo, Donetsk region. He was a major of the 77th Aeromobile Brigade of Armed Forces, and he died on the 4th of August during the shelling of Ukrainian positions by Grad multiple rocket launcher. He shielded his subordinates with himself and left and saved their lives. Dmitro Mayboroda, as a commander of the crew of An-26 plane from May to July, had 35 combat flights, and he died on the 14th of July in Krasnodon district of Luhansk region when his plane was hit by the air-to-air missile. He tried to pilot his airship until the last moment, which saved the lives, which allowed the rest of the crew to evacuate. Major Alexander Petrakovsky is a commander of the special group of the Pivnich Operational Command. Yesterday, the Cossacks of the so-called All-Great Don Cossack Troop have fired from mortars to the village of Kryakivka. One of the mines landed on the yard of a private house. 2 local residents died in situ. From the beginning of the week, the terrorists have killed 6 peaceful residents on the territory of Luhansk region controlled by Ukraine. As a result of shellings by terrorists, there are considerable ruinations of infrastructure in Stanitsa Luhanska, Chernukhina, and several other settlements. Between the village of Svetlichne and village of Krymsky in Luhansk region, the gas pipeline was damaged, as a result of which 1,241 customers were left without gas. The damage is being repaired now. Every day, the number of people who lived on bus increases. Over the last 24 hours, 4,174 people were resettled from Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast to other regions of Ukraine. In general, 526,000 people were resettled from Donetsk and Luhansk region and also from Autonomous Republic of Crimea over the time when the resettlement started. On the boundaries of the anti-terrorist operation zone, 4 transit points of the emergency service of Ukraine continue to work to meet internally displaced people. In the Donetsk region, these are in the vicinity of towns Krasnoarmeysk and Mariupol. In Luhansk region, next to Svatovo and Lysychansk. Almost 28,000 people used the services of these points. The emergency situation service over the last 24 hours have detected and defused 71 units of ammunition, including 1 artillery projectile, 3 mortar mines, 6 combat grenades and mines, 1 self-propelled unit of ammunition, and from the beginning of the anti-terrorist operation, over 30,245 units of ammunition were detected and confiscated. Yesterday, on one of the control points in the vicinity of settlement Vodene, a bodyguards patrol has detained the citizen of Ukraine who took part in the terrorist activity. He was detected in one of the cars where he was as a passenger riding from the territory temporarily controlled by the terrorists. Thank you for your attention.